Welcome to the 17th edition of Soleta Product Updates. We've got a massive update this time, so let's just dive in. Previously, we showcased the ability to interact with Dana through a specialized interactive interface, and this update, we're pushing that further, way further. Let's just start by pointing Dana in the right direction. Do you see how there are first and last name columns? Notice that this isn't really a query, but instead it's just something to notice. And Dana recognized that this is a user observation and not a query either, and intelligently just jumps over to the correct customers table. And yes, the customers table includes columns for both first and last names. Okay, great. Can we combine them together? And now we get to jump over into our new flow, which is related to merging and combining columns. And notice that Dana recognizes that we want a full name column. We can start by choosing some columns to merge together. So we can choose to add different columns, such as a state column or a member column. But actually, Dana has done a great job in choosing the first and last name column, which is what we really want to merge. So going on to the next step, Dana has also intelligently chosen for us how to merge the columns together. In this case, we've chosen that a joining with space, which is just an empty space between the two columns, makes the most sense. We could have also chosen to concatenate, which is to have no space, or to join with a comma. All reasonable options for joining first and last name. Let's go ahead and go forward with this, and we will now join the text with an empty space. And voila, just like that, we have our full name column with James Chu or Elias Bailey or Logan Hill, all completely done. Great. It's pretty neat. Let's ask a different question with the kind of same idea. Can we create a new column for the date? This time around, it's not entirely clear what columns need to be used because we have names, cities, and states. And so I purposely chose one where it's not going to be that clear. And instead of having a pre-populated one, we're going to go ahead and jump over to the orders table ourselves and notice then that there is the month and the day as well as the year column. And not only can you choose from the table, but you can also go and have a drop down to choose this way as well. Okay, as we continue then, notice that there are these different options of interaction. Now I'm going to click finish, and we're once again going to see the different options to merge. We can choose a separator, perhaps a dash is a good way to combine these different columns. But for our purposes, we're going to purposely expand the button in the bottom left corner to see all these beautiful options available, these icons. There's logarithm, addition, maybe by alphabetical. I'm going to choose a slightly unconventional join with period to join these date components together in order to get this to work. Okay, let's go ahead and click finish. And just like that, we will join the text with a period. And the order date column has been successfully created in the orders table. And we go ahead and scroll to the right, we'll see that is exactly true. Before moving on, notice how Dana has been following along the entire time. Within Soleta, the entire system is interconnected. Remember that for later. Let's go ahead and load a new spreadsheet this time for review. This time it's going to be a different set of columns, so we're going to use a different spreadsheet. This is a larger spreadsheet, so it's going to take a little bit longer time to load. Now that this is loaded, let's move on to our final query. I want to combine some columns in the purchases table to calculate total price. Now this time we actually have a fairly complex formula involving taxes, discounts, and more. And so there needs to be a little bit of thinking involved. But Dana is actually pretty intelligent in being able to pick up on these different components. And with our quick picker, these are already pre-selected for us. And so that's pretty simple. We're just going to go ahead and click finish, and we should be done with this step. Then going on to the next step, we'll need to figure out how to merge these together. Having a typical separator or even these other mathematical operators might not be enough. So one of the other new custom options is to use column variables as A, B, or C to write your own custom code for combining content. See examples for details. So these are some of the examples. And so this just goes to show you the breadth of functionality that Dana now has in being able to do some pretty custom work. Now, in particular, we'll notice that the different columns are quantity, discount, tax, and unit price. So unit price is maybe the first starting point. We have to deal with the discount, which is 1 minus B, which is how you deal with the discount. Then there's a tax. We have to add the amount of tax because it was a percentage above. And then that's going to give us the total price. But then multiplying that against the quantity, that will be the joint of that. So in other words, it's a fairly complicated formula. And just like that, though, we finalize and we're done. The total price column has been successfully created in the purchases table. You get amounts such as $187.25, $77.04, or $72.23. Okay, one last thing. Remember how Dana has always kept up with the changes in the interactive panel? As previously mentioned, everything is connected. Dana isn't a Copilot chatbot plugged in as an afterthought. Earlier, we saw clicking on the spreadsheet update the interactive panel. The interactive panel affected the conversation with Dana, and talking to Dana can directly update the spreadsheet. To drive this point home, we will now show you how we can replace the actions taken through the interactive panel by just talking to Dana instead. Let's take our most complicated flow regarding total price and see what happens if we're very precise about what we want. I want to insert a new column called total price, which considers the quantity, discount, tax, and unit price columns in the purchases table. Great. And this time we should be able to go straight to a solution because we've been very clear about what we wanted. And Dana goes ahead and does some thinking, figures out the formula is something along these lines, should generate the correct code for it in just a single step. There you go, that's the pandas code, and updated the table as requested. So there you go, same answer as before. You can even go back to earlier in the video if you want to check. Okay, you're back? Cool. In conclusion, this update was huge. It took longer than usual to release, but we think making the interactions smoother worth it. More stuff coming real quick since now that there's a solid foundation. So check back soon.